Welcome to That's So Savvy, the podcast where we dive deep into the stories and journeys of remarkable business leaders. Join our host, Nancy Aichholz, a seasoned professional and experienced entrepreneur, on her mission to discover the recipe for business success.
Welcome to That's So Savvy podcast, where we dive deep into what makes businesses, and more importantly, the people behind them, so successful. I'm your host, Nancy Aichholz. I'm a serial entrepreneur, a former brand marketing executive, nonprofit leader, and the founder of That's So Sweet and Nan Cakes. I've spent my career building brands and businesses, mentoring women, and creating savvy strategies that work. In season 3, we're going all in on the savvy business of food. From fast, casual giants and small but mighty food options to mission-driven food nonprofits and bold culinary innovators. This season is all about the people reimagining what we eat, how we eat, and why food businesses matter more than ever. You'll hear straight talk from founders, chefs, CPG disruptors, grocery execs, and purpose-driven changemakers. We'll unpack what's working in the industry, from branding and packaging to scaling and storytelling, and what it really takes to build a food brand that sticks to your ribs, as they say. Whether you're a food lover, aspiring founder, or seasoned entrepreneur, or a full-blown food executive, this season will feed your mind, your soul, and maybe even your next big idea. So grab your favorite drink, or better yet, a cookie, and let's get savvy. That's So Savvy podcast is supported by wonderful listeners like you. If you would like to hear more of our podcast and be more involved, please go to patreon.com, patreon.com, and you can donate as little as $5 a month or as much as you'd like to support That So Savvy podcast. If you'd like to advertise and reach our rapidly growing audience, please email us at thatssosavvypod, P-O-D, @gmail.com. thatssosavvypod@gmail.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. And we look forward to bringing That So Savvy podcast to you for a very long time in the future. Welcome back, savvy listeners. It is season 3, and we are all about the savvy business of food. So today I have our friend Amy Tobin, and she's Amy Tobin and Company. So I want to hear who that company is at some point today. You're going to have so much fun listening to Amy. Because food is so central to everything we do, Amy has looked at food from so many different directions. She's been involved in the food industry in so many different ways. And I think that's just kind of like a metaphor for life, because food is life, right? It's nutrition, but it's also community, and it's connection, and it's a hobby, and it's a business. And so Amy has kind of done all of that. And she has just such a unique way of taking her gifts and talents in the food industry and sharing with the community and creating community around food, which is just so inspiring. So she's a public speaker and an author. We're going to talk about her brand new book, Food for Thought. And she blends her storytelling with the strategy to spark conversations, ignite creativity, and inspire lasting impact. Through her company, she curates bespoke events and brand activations. Love it, because I'm a brand person, that bring people together in thoughtful, authentic ways. And I mean, she sure does. So, Amy, tell us all about Amy. What do we need to know about you? There's so much to know.
It's so funny. I feel like I'm almost like a spider web where everything I do goes back to the center in some way. And food is pretty much it. Many people do know me as a culinarian because of many years of running cooking schools and having my show on Q102, which was lifestyle, but mostly food-based.
Right.
But to your point, food is so central to everything we do. And I'm a big believer in how you do anything is how you do everything. In fact, that's a quote captured in the new book, Food for Thought. And I think what I am, if someone wanted to just sum me up, it's creative.
Oh, yes, you are. Definitely.
I think that everybody has some degree of a superpower that they decide whether or not to uncover. And for me, I uncovered at a very early age my superpower of creativity.
Oh, I love it.
So whether it was coming up with something new and unique in a cooking class that somebody hadn't done before. I mean, I introduced dancing and cooking classes way back when in 1999.
Oh my God.
And people hadn't done it. It was a hit. Or whether it be team building with corporate clients around food, because talk about the ultimate leveling of a playing field.
Sure.
The CEO may not be able to put together a quick meal, and yet, my gosh, the admin is really good at it. And all of a sudden, the power dynamic changes, and it's very strong for team building. That's, of course, been going on for years now, but I would use food and my thoughts around it as a way to create outlines for a speech, to create training for my team, or to create an inspiring segment on my show. So I guess it's my creativity is how I would sum myself up. If you want to know me, I'm a creative person.
There you go. Creativity is your middle name. There's no question about that. And I love that you have such a passion for food. But how did that start? Like, did you cook in the kitchen with your mom, your grandma?
My mom was a great cook. And after her death, many years after her death, I discovered a newspaper clipping in some family folders that talked about how she entertained in our local paper. And what was really ironic about it all, I'm going to go on a little tangent, is that it was her recipe for lettuce soup.
Oh.
I know you're kind of making a face, but interestingly, it wasn't 3 months prior to me finding that article that one of my long-term clients stole fresh vegetables, asked me if I had ever made lettuce soup. It's really kind of a trend in California. It has been forever. And I was like, no, that's so weird, but let me try it. Yeah. And then months later to discover that my mother had made lettuce soup that was good enough to be featured in the local paper. But how did I get into it? I loved food as a kid. My parents never took us out to feed us. They took us out for dining. We were fed at home.
Right.
And that's kind of still how I eat. I feed myself at home, but I go out to dine. But I always loved the special stuff. I wanted the special stuff all the time.
Nice.
And I remember being in line with my mom at a grocery store, and one of the women's magazines was at the end of the line. And I looked at it and I was like, look at this. And I showed it to my mom, and I think she was tired of me throwing things in the cart. And she said, if you want that magazine, you're going to buy it. So I took out my hard-earned babysitting money and I bought this magazine at the grocery store. And it was a photograph of a chicken breast, a boneless, skinless chicken breast, which this would have been in the late 70s. So those weren't always around, right? It was sort of a luxurious, beautiful thing. And it was cut in half. And it was filled with cheese that was oozing out of it. And it had sliced almonds over top. And I thought, my God, that's the way chicken should look. And so,
what's wrong with the chicken at our house?
Exactly. My mom would throw a whole one in the oven. Of course, it was amazing. But, I wanted something more special. So I made this dish for my brothers and my sisters. And I was the baby of 6 children.
Oh, my.
So a couple of my sisters had husbands.
Oh, my gosh.
So I made it for probably 14 people. And I remember everyone loved it. And Nancy, come on, that's human nature. I liked that they loved it. I got immediate feedback.
Yeah, I'm good at this.
Yeah. And then it just sort of snowballed. When our friends' parents would travel when we were kids, we'd have beer bashes at their house when they were gone. At my house, I had dinner parties. I mean, I set the table, candlelight, the whole thing. I kind of expected people to come a little bit dressed up.
Yeah.
And it was marvelous. So I never thought of cooking as a career whatsoever. It just was something I loved to do. Well, in Chicago, where we moved right after my husband and I got married, I had a little interior design business.
Interesting.
But I also loved to cook.
Mm-hmm.
And when he moved me, and I'll be frank, kicking and screaming to Cincinnati, Ohio, I loved to cook. And we ended up living with a lot of expats near us when we first moved here because we didn't know where to go. So we rented a little townhome and I would cook for them. And one day, one of the women said to me, I know how much you love to cook. And there's a little shop. I don't know if you've seen it. It's called Cookswares. And they have a sign in the window.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. And my daughter had just started preschool, so I was free 2 afternoons a week. So I went in and I applied. And I'll fast forward here. I ended up being offered the directorship of their cooking school within a few weeks of starting. And that was never on my radar.
Oh my gosh.
But when it was offered to me,
opportunity knocks.
I wanted it more than I think I had ever wanted anything else in my life.
So fun.
And I loved it. I felt very much like I just needed to be quiet behind these incredible chefs. And what could I actually add? I'm not a trained chef, any of that. And the pivotal moment in my career, and I know that there's been more than one, but the first really that I remember pivotal moment was Jean Robert was the instructor.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I had the courage to call him. We arrived in town about the same time, he and I started running that cooking school. And I thought, this is a guy that people need to see.
No kidding.
And I called him and I said, would you be willing? And it was his first cooking class in the United States that he had ever done.
No.
And he did them regularly for me and taught me so much, not excluding how to butcher a rabbit, which let's talk about how many times I've done that since. Zero.
Yeah.
But
you could if you had to.
I could if I had to, but I'd do a lot to avoid it.
Yeah.
But I remember I'd always just be silent because this master chef and these beautiful dishes, and that's not how I cooked. I didn't have that skill. And one day, and I wish I could remember what he did, but he did something, and I was caught up in the excitement and the passion. And I said, you know what I do at home? And I gave a tip that was, I'm going to be honest, much easier, more streamlined than what he was doing. And I was sort of shocked that I had the hubris to say this. But then also, I looked at the room, and every single woman's head went down, and she wrote down my tip.
I love it.
And I realized something.
You and I don't cook like Jean Robert.
Exactly. We
want to eat what he cooks.
Everyone was in awe of his skill, but they were more apt to go home and do what I did.
Right.
And that was really the beginning of, I thought, oh my God.
And he was a humble guy, though. He probably took it humble. He took it great, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, he didn't care at all. And it was a bigger moment to me.
Yeah.
Were he able to join us today and talk about it, he probably would not remember it.
Probably not.
It was bigger to me that I realized I had a voice that was worth hearing.
Right.
We all do.
Oh, that's perfect.
And don't quiet it. Don't
I love
quiet it. So again, how you do anything is how you do everything. I started blurting out ideas, and it worked not just in cooking classes, but with corporate clients on the air, ideas about segments. And so I still blurt. Just try and stop me.
Hey, you know, nothing wrong with that. If you were the youngest of 6, you had to blurt it out.
Oh, absolutely.
Or else you were never going to be heard.
One of the quotes in the book, Food for Thought, kind of echoes being the baby of 6 and having to find your place is that every problem comes bearing a gift.
Perfect.
In any element of your life. And for me, being the small fry at the dinner table, I had to come up with something pretty interesting for anyone to want to listen. For me to get their attention, I had to make that chicken dish I was telling you about, right? It pushed me to grow some of my skills. Right. And it gave me the skills of diplomacy. It gave me the skills of persuasion. So now...
And the confidence, because you were able to break through the clutter in your own family and be noticed, respected.
Yes.
Get some love from what you were offering, which I'm sure helped with you because you're so confident. You're just such a very confident person and not an uncomfortable way, in a very we should all be so confident.
But we shouldn't we?
Yes.
I mean, what would happen if everyone listening just decided for one day to put aside all the self-consciousness, to put aside all the potential problems and pitfalls, and just go for it?
Yeah.
What would happen?
Right.
In fact, I read the most interesting article about the what are the chances mentality. Instead of saying to somebody, I need you to do this, it would be like, hey, Nancy, what are the chances I could come back again?
Yeah.
Hey, desk agent at the airlines, what are the chances I could get an upgrade? Why not? You did what if you did?
Yeah.
I
love that quote. Maybe this is in Food for Thought. the one about what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail?
Right. I've got variations of that one. It's one of the things that I love so much about the premise of the book, which is all these quotes and my fleshing them out, is that there is so much universal wisdom that dates back to biblical times.
Right.
And before, and it's been repositioned, regurgitated, restated, but the underlying essence is the same. And so many of them are just so straightforward. For example, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? And the odds are much better in your favor. Act like life is rigged in your favor.
Yeah,
because it actually is.
It is.
Otherwise, we'd all be dead right this moment.
Right, exactly. And then you combine that with your quote about with every challenge comes a gift, or every problem comes a gift. We all have, none of us have the perfect life, but we're where we are for a reason.
Absolutely.
And that's the gift. And then we just have to figure out how to make the best use of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's another quote, and I can't remember who said it, and I'm not even sure if it's in this book or volume 2. Yes, I'm on volume 2.
Oh, my gosh.
Is that we're all self-made. It's only the successful that admit it.
Oh, well, I'm going to start saying I'm self-made then.
There you go.
That's my new tagline.
That's right.
So you went from doing cooking classes to a whole career around food.
Yeah.
And you've really done so many different things. I'm guessing, because I know enough about you, that a lot of these things just presented themselves because you were doing such a good job in each thing that you were doing, making connections, building community, and then the next thing would just kind of come along.
It did. And I am so incredibly grateful for that. I can't even express it. But
same way.
When I was at Cookswares, I hit it off with a chef friend, and he and I started catering together. I remember one day I was in another family's kitchen on Christmas Eve, and my children were at home. And I looked at Paul, my partner, and I said, you know what? I don't want to do this. This was not the plan. I'm a stay-at-home mommy.
Right.
I don't know what happened. And so I told him I could no longer cater. And I also told Cookswares, somehow I've gone down a road I didn't mean to go down. And thank you so much. And I was at home, retired for 6 weeks. And I remember caller ID was kind of new. And my caller ID said P&G. And I thought, I can't remember who would be calling me from P&G, trying to sort through my friends that worked there. And I answered, and it was a lovely woman who was in HR. And she said, we'd love to meet with you about a project that we're doing.
Interesting.
Yeah. I met them.
Amy, not many people get that phone call.
I know. I know. And I knew it then.
Yeah.
And we met, and she laid out a blueprint for a multi-million-dollar cooking school in the Rookwood Commons. And it was first of its kind. And she said, we think you would be a perfect person. And I said, how do you even know me? What do you mean? Was there even Facebook then? I don't think so.
No, probably not.
And she said, we asked the chefs in the community, and your name came up from all of them. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Because you had all them come in and hosted them. They were your...
And you know what?
Yes, right?
I gave them the spotlight, and I was efficient and a hard worker behind them, and I appreciated them. But I didn't do that expecting anything.
No, you were just doing your job.
And through P&G, I was given the most extraordinary experiences. It was incredible. And I went to New York for media training at Gray Worldwide.
Oh my gosh. I'm so jealous.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
And it was just remarkable.
Yeah. What was the name of that? Something
Culinary Soul.
Yes.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
When they decided to sell the Crisco brand, which was basically the parent brand of Culinary Soul, none of the buyers wanted to buy the cooking school too. So my brand manager, what a lucky person I am to have worked under such a visionary leader, said to me, look, this is really your baby. We'll make you a deal.
Oh my gosh.
And I bought it from P&G.
I didn't realize that.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And you know what? That's what I am in my heart, in addition to creative, is an entrepreneur.
Yes.
So I was excited. And it did not succeed. And I bought it with my heart and not my head. And there were some things that were going to make it untenable for me to keep it open, and it closed. And it was tragic. You know how this feels.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's
when it doesn't go the way you want it to.
Oh, my God. And especially when your passion is in it, my heart was shredded and ripped right out of my chest. But what else did I get out of that? As my lawyer told me at the time, you got an instant MBA is what you got. Every problem comes bearing a gift.
Exactly.
And then what happened in these lucky moments is that I got a call from the Smucker's company, which bought Crisco. And many of my former colleagues had gone on to those brands. And that's when my company was born, Amy Tobin and Company, in 2002.
Okay.
Because I was now writing web content, writing recipes, doing spokespersoning, traveling around, talking about the joys of Martha White biscuits and all of that for Smucker's. And that was one of the most wonderful relationships ever.
Bet. Oh
and they became radio and television sponsors. I had 2 years on PBS. And yes, I fell into it. Yes, everything presented itself to me. And it's funny, the team that's doing the PR for my book for me right now said, you need to stop saying that you fall in. You did a lot more than you give yourself credit for.
Yeah.
And I think what I did and what I would encourage anybody to do, regardless of their business, is to go where your passion lies, where your natural skills are. If I suddenly decided I wanted to be a juggler, I would fall on my face and these opportunities would not come. But I am creative. I know it. I've learned to have confidence in it.
Yes.
And I really do, I'd like to think, practice the golden rule.
Exactly.
Which is another one of those age-old wisdoms. It's easy, everybody. Just treat everybody like you want to be treated, and you'll be surprised how they treat you.
Exactly.
And that works both ways.
Yeah. And plus, you enjoy what you're doing.
I do very much.
And that always shows in everything you do. And I agree that, yes, these opportunities seem to just present themselves to us. But honestly, it's because you make the most of every opportunity.
That's it.
And then you take what you've learned into the next iteration and learn more.
Yep.
And I want to keep learning until I'm 101.
Oh, me too, Nancy. I mean, truthfully, I really do. And I think if you do it right, that is the way to do it. You're right. I make the most of whatever opportunity comes. And I also keep open to them. Keeping open and aware of them is key, I think. But you're right. You have to love what you do. Now, I will say in my life, that has been a challenge more than once, that I love what I do, because then sometimes boundaries are a little bit more difficult. And you can have loads of fun, but still you're working. You need to think about how much working am I going to do? So I've started creating pretty rigid boundaries for myself.
That's good. That's good. And then there's always a piece about you can love you can love your work, but your work still has to generate revenue.
Right. Exactly.
That part.
Exactly.
A lot of businesses wouldn't close if we didn't have to generate revenue.
I know.
Darn it.
I know.
That's the hard part.
I know. It's so true. But that's a really good point that I'm not sure I can actually articulate a solution to. But a lot of businesses where somebody's following their passion, let's say it's a fancy cooking school. But you know what? If you're also following your strengths, well, my strengths did not include negotiating real estate leases and the finer points of what was happening behind the scenes. That's not my strength. So I should have actually built a team that was, I mean, so there's always, there's,
Know your strengths, hire for your weaknesses.
Absolutely.
It's always a good, put that in your next book.
I will. I'll quote you.
Nancy Aichholz says.
That's right. I'll quote you.
It works pretty well when you do it. So as you're looking at the food industry today compared to how it was when you first started, what are you seeing? I mean, there's been so many changes, but what are you seeing if you had to predict what's going to be the next 10 years of food in our community, our world? What do you think? We have unique challenges right now.
We do have unique challenges.
In my mind, one of the biggest is just the incredible cost of ingredients.
Yes. Boy, there's so many things I want to say there. I've got to edit myself. in terms of the cost of ingredients, I believe that's truly an issue. I have been lucky enough to have teams of people that spanned many socioeconomic circumstances working for me.
Good.
And when we would do cooking classes where someone would bring in from a beautiful farm, perhaps down the street from you, or they would bring in a cheese that was so exquisite and carefully crafted by an artisan, and all these beautiful ingredients to whip together such a simple supper. The ingredients are key. And then I would stop and realize that for someone that worked for me that might not have access to a luxurious farm or to get to where this cheese is made, the transportation alone puts it out of their reach. Right. And then the price puts it out of their reach. And this is why so many people end up in the McDonald's drive-thru, which is now also ridiculously expensive.
Yeah, right, exactly.
If I were inspired, any food concept that really made me sit down and shut up for a minute, like, wow, I'm gobsmacked. It's 80 Acres. Are you familiar with them?
Yes. I'd like to have them on this podcast, actually.
Oh, yes. They're just amazing. To me, the idea for anybody listening that is not aware, it's a crate, a container, a shipping container that they can plant to equal 80 acres of farmland. And I think that this is so brilliant. It's now gone on to much larger than that. But originally, when I first toured the facility, the fact that between the respiration and the aspiration of the plants, they were watering themselves, and the fact that the zoo brought in people to put the right bugs in, and all of this was so amazing to me. I started thinking, we're going to see those like every third street in a neighborhood.
I hope so.
And we're going to see those in downtown city centers. And I would put them on trains. This was my idea.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Isn't it? Thank you. And nobody's taken me up on that. But if you'd like to, call me. I've got ideas. But truthfully, it's like on a train that you could start the growing process. Mm-hmm. Take up no more time. Just stack a train. Yeah. Get it across the state to an area that needs fresh, affordable produce.
Right.
And I think that is a trend. I think farmland and farmers are changing. Literally our world is changing. Right. The ability to grow crops.
And there are so many good ag departments at universities now. I mean, I went to the Ohio State University, and we've always had a great ag department.
Yeah.
But there's so much of that now, and there's so much innovation in that area.
So much.
Well, I pay a little bit more for my 80 acres lettuce in the grocery store.
But not much. And I don't throw it away. It stays fresh. Longer.
Yes.
I know.
The packaging is great.
And the nutrients are at their peak.
It tastes so much better.
It does.
It doesn't taste like lettuce soup.
No. Lettuce soup is beautiful. You have to know. I swear to you, lettuce soup is beautiful.
Okay, I'm going to go find a lettuce soup
broth
recipe.
And butter and wilted lettuces.
Okay, so
it's
more like bok choy than like, I'm just looking
wouldn't be iceberg, but it's leafy lettuces.
Okay.
I'll dig up the recipe somewhere and send it to you.
Yeah.
I was stunned how much I loved it.
Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to slam lettuce soup, but I'm still going back, like, I can't picture it.
Well, that's where creativity has been key to what I've done in food is Dole fresh vegetables. They would give me a salad kit and they would expect I'd like 12 unique recipes from them. So you're looking at your base lettuce and it's like, I know 85 ways I can change this pretty simply. And I remember the one that kind of cemented my role with them was I put it in a blender with tomato sauce, and I handed it to them as gazpacho.
Oh, my gosh.
It was so good. It was so good.
I would never have thought of that. There you go, the creativity again.
It serves you well.
Yeah. Back to innovation in our industry. So 80 acres is a great example of that. What about how people I'm finding that fewer and fewer friends are cooks.
I would agree.
It is a skill that it's almost like, I hope it doesn't go the way of like sewing, where everybody used to kind of know how to sew and now only specialized people know how to sew.
Right.
Like cooking to me is so much more than just putting food on the table for your family.
Yeah.
My world, it's a hobby. I call my kitchen kind of my therapy room. It's what brings our family together. It's what friends want to come over for. So to me, it's so rich and it's such a cultural kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it makes me sad that I don't have a ton of friends who really like to cook because I think they're missing out on a lot.
I couldn't agree more. And it's funny, even when the Food Network happened, even when cooking schools were everywhere, most people were there to observe and to eat.
Yeah, right.
There were a few that really wanted to go all in and would go home and get crazy in the kitchen. I'm in between those two. You can take a girl out of the kitchen. I don't do cooking classes any longer. I don't run a cooking school anymore. I still am I wake up and wonder what I'm going to cook for dinner.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I love it. But I do not want to cook for dinner, something that I have to give up the better part of my day for. There's no award given out for that.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
Not even bragging rights.
It's gone in the same amount of time, whether you spent all day or you spent an hour.
It is. And so to me, again, it's that creative angle of what are things that I can make all at once, toss in my fridge, and now it's gorgeous every time I eat. I mean, I'm always saying keep pickled red onions in your fridge. And do you know how easy they are to make? Yeah. So your plain taco is suddenly really good. Really good. Or diced up in your tuna salad. That took it to a new level. I mean, I think that's always been my personal approach to food is relatable, pretty easy to execute food because I don't do anything other than that, really. I do on occasion, but you know what I mean. But I would agree it would be tragic because, number one, so many of our nutrition issues would be solved if we cooked at home.
Yeah.
So many more trips could be taken, gifts could be given if you cooked at home, because the cost differential is enormous.
Yeah.
And especially for those who, like I talked about earlier, cannot afford to go to Turner Farm. I did a class a long time ago for Dress for Success, and I did a lentil soup, a delicious lentil soup, and it was about 10 cents a serving.
Oh my gosh.
If you think about that, if you're trying to feed a family of 5, you could, in reality, not always, and it's harder and harder, and you have to be careful, but make dinner for under $1.
You could, right. If you understand cooking enough.
Right.
And understand what ingredients are healthy, but also inexpensive or shelf stable or whatever it is that you need.
A friend of mine has a company called Green Turtle Nutrition. And I said, why Green Turtle? She said, because the turtle has everything it needs on its back.
Oh my gosh.
And I love that.
Yeah.
But we all should have everything we need on our back. We should know how to feed ourselves, how to emergency first aid ourselves.
We should.
These are just some skills that
life
will make
skills.
Yeah, you don't want to be stuck somewhere and suddenly realize you have no way to feed yourself because you just don't have the skill.
Right.
That's just not cool.
And I wonder if they don't do home ec in schools anymore.
No, and boy, did I love that as a kid.
I loved that. It was so fun.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
It really was.
It was like gym class for the non-athlete.
Yes. But I failed miserably at the sewing portion of that. But the cooking portion, I was all in.
Yeah. Well, take me out of the art room because I think I scared the teachers. I was like, I can't even draw a circle. Okay. So before we end, I want to dig into your book a little bit more. Food for Thought, Sharing Love, Inspiration, and Connection by Amy Tobin. You can get this
pretty much anywhere. Yeah.
Bookstores,
Amazon, Joseph Beth locally, Roebling locally. Anybody nationally, bookshop.org. You plug in my name and you can find it at your bookstore anywhere across the country.
Okay, that's a great hack. I did not know that you could do that.
Really good if you want to support a local bookseller. I think it's kind of key.
I'm going to do that. We went to the most fun bookshop in Savannah. I have the off topic called E-Shavers.
Never been.
Next time anybody's in Savannah, Georgia, you got to go to E-Shavers. It's just a classic. It looks small, but it goes and goes and goes. And they've got so many books. And then we went to this really fun one in Charleston. And gosh darn, I can't remember the name. I've never been in a bookstore like this. You walk in and it's color coded. So it's so visually appealing. And I don't know how they did it because they still had sections of like biography here and food there and mystery or whatever. And it was all super colorful. It was incredible.
That. I love that. Yeah, how intentional. That's beautiful.
It was wonderful. It was just, I'm just going to hang out in here all day. Okay, so I'm going to read a few quotes, some of my favorites. This is a fun one because I'm always on the health and fitness journey. Health is a relationship between you and your body. That is so true. And I think if you listen to that, think about that as it's your relationship with your body, not that chick over there who looks so much better than I do or isn't nearly as active as I am and is a size 2. It is between you and your body.
It absolutely is. And that's one of those things I want to empower people just by kind of shaking them with that kind of thought. It's on you. That's both a blessing and a curse. But the choices you make, there's the old thought that your cells hear every thought you're thinking. Make it be good.
Yeah. Be nice to your body.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, this is a good one. The very best thing you can do for the whole world is to make the most of yourself.
That one has so much resonance with me. If you love your family, if you're in a marriage, and you love your spouse, the best thing is to be interesting. The best thing is to be fun. The best thing is to be kind and generous. The best thing is to have something new to say. The best thing is for that person to turn to you and want to say, what would you do?
Right.
But so many people are busy looking at others and how they can improve.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, what do they say? Think about yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And the other way to look at that is that sometimes I think as women, we feel like we're not supposed to make the most of ourselves.
Right.
We're supposed to hold back. We're not supposed to be, I don't know, bold or whatever. But if we're not serving our community.
Absolutely.
Whether that's our family, our community, our business, our world, whatever. We were put here to be who we are and be the best at it.
In acting, they always say, leave it all on the stage, right? In life, what would be more tragic than getting all the way through it and not having left anything on the stage?
Absolutely.
It's like, this is your shot.
It is, exactly. And we only get one, as far as we know.
Yep. And many people live like they've got another one in the closet, and they don't.
No. We always are waiting for that perfect scenario to do a certain thing. And like that perfect scenario never comes.
Yep.
Okay, so this is the final one that I picked out, and I think you have a couple favorites too. Have no single point of failure. Have no single path to success. Oh my gosh, I love this one because we all fail. We all stub our toes. We all make bad decisions, whatever. But it doesn't define us.
No.
It's just an opportunity to learn. And there's not just one way to be successful. Like I get kind of tired of people saying to me, "Oh, Nancy, you keep redefining yourself." I'm like, "No, I really don't. I just keep moving forward."
Absolutely.
I don't know how to define myself, so I can't redefine myself. It's just, okay, that thing didn't work the way I was doing it. I'm going to keep going, and maybe there's a different way to do it. Or maybe I just wasn't meant to be doing that right now. Like when I put Nan Cakes on hold in 2014, I said to myself, I'm not stopping. I'm stalling. I'm waiting until
resting.
Until the right opportunity for this cake comes along. And the biggest thing was that I couldn't ship the cake. Well, then fast forward, I get an opportunity to bring it back and figure out how to ship it at a time when that technology was more available. Just kind of worked.
It takes some failures to have that level of confidence. And my favorite word lately is equanimity.
Oh, that's a good one.
That sort of equanimous, look at me, use another version of it, sense that, hey, what'll be will be.
Yeah.
I'm doing what I can to get in the right direction. I'm moving forward. I mean, perseverance to me is about one of the most important attributes of a person's thought process is just keep going.
Oh.
And it's true. I have also had every time without fail, and I'm not unique. Every time, what appears to be my worst failure is just around the corner from my best success. And knowing that, if you can go in, it's that confidence we talked about earlier. If you can just get up in the morning and know, hey, come what may, I'm prepared and know that something good is coming, or I could get hit in the face with a pie. But either way, I'm going to make it through.
Right.
And I don't think you can overstate the power of positive thinking, which truly is the reason behind this book.
Right.
If there's time left, I will tell you that my son was going through a hard time. I already had the morning ritual of centering myself with some positive reading and things that got my head where I wanted it to be. And I started sending him little uplifting thoughts. He loved them. I included my daughter. It became something that I have done over 3,000 times.
That's incredible.
It is. Yeah. And it again, that comes to habit, right?
Right.
It's just a little habit. Right. I accidentally wrote a book 15 minutes a day for a decade.
Right.
But I think that the idea of positioning your brain where it will do the most good and have the most potential for success is on you, yourself, and no one else.
Right.
And this is something kind of like the age-old quotes that we've talked about. This is some information. You can choose what to do with it. Are you listening to it and saying, here's a possibility. I ought to give this a whirl. Or are you going, oh, that's just BS. Come on. I would likely say that your listeners were probably split down the middle on that of how people interpret that message. I would also likely say that the results that these people have will split the same way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So no cavalry's coming. It's up to you, everybody.
For darn sure.
Yeah. So that was the point behind this.
Yes. It's a lovely book.
Thank you.
Your other book, your cookbook, I have that somewhere. Amy's Table.
Yes.
Which is also was the name of your radio show, correct?
And my ever so brief television show,
So food for thought. It's lovely. And it's another one of those great books where you can read a page, you could read a chapter. They're kind of all
not meant to sit down and read it like a novel.
It's not
just
a novel.
Sort of I don't know if you've ever on a lark done a tarot card or opened a fortune cookie or whatever.
Yeah.
It's almost like, what if you just opened it up and
what do I need to hear today?
Yeah. It's funny. Anytime I give a chat, way before the book, I would use quotes to outline my message just because it allowed me to speak extemporaneously and not have to have a speech or a script. Every time without fail, and it has happened at every chat I've given around this book, someone will come up to me afterwards and isolate a particular quote and say, I can't tell you how much I needed to hear that today.
That's perfect. Yeah.
And of course, I had no idea that they needed to hear that today.
Right. But you happen to say it.
Yeah.
And it worked for them.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, that goes back to how you build community.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
I tried.
So, Amy Tobin, great having you. I'm going to be excited to watch. There's always something next with you.
Thank you, Nancy.
I always like to watch what that is, and loved having you on That's So Savvy, the savvy business of food. We hope to see you again here.
Thank you. I loved every minute of it.
Thanks so much for tuning in to That's So Savvy podcast, the savvy business of food. I'm Nancy Aichholz, and I hope today's episode left you happy, energized, and maybe even a little bit hungry for more. If you loved what you heard, make sure to subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, and share this episode with your fellow foodies and founders. You can also find bonus content, behind-the-scenes stories, and more at that'ssosavvy.com, on our Substack, where you can subscribe to our newsletter, and follow us on Instagram at That's So Savvy Podcast. Until next time, stay bold, stay curious, and stay savvy.